What's up, everybody? It's your boy Big Poppy JT, and I'm coming at you with my Oregon versus Stanford college football week 4 preview and analysis. And I think this might be one of the best games this week because both of these teams are very interesting. Oregon is facing their first true opponent after playing cupcakes the first couple of weeks. They struggled against San Jose State, but they ended up winning the game. And Stanford played USC, but how legit was that USC win? And Stanford has to win this game. They have to play Oregon on the road, and they got to play Notre Dame on the road next week. So this is going to be a tough 2-week stretch. Offense versus defense comparison. Oregon offense versus the Stanford defense. Oregon is 23rd in the country in yards per game with 103. They average 289 passing yards, which is 36th in the country. They had 214 rushing yards per game, which is 38th in the country, and they're 8th in points per game with 51.7. Now the Stanford defense is 22nd in yards per game given up, only allowing 301 yards. They give up 196.3 passing yards per game, which is 52 in the country, and they're 25th in rushing yards per game allowed with 104.7. But they're number one in points per game given up, only giving up 7.7 points per game. Now the Stanford offense to the Oregon defense. The Stanford offense is very, very terrible. Well, it's not terrible, but it's average. 102 in the country in total offense with 358.3 yards per game, 64 for 243 passing yards per game, and they're 112th rushing the ball with 115.3 rushing yards per game, which is surprising because they have Bryce Love. So I don't know why they're that low. And they're 94th in the country in points per game scored with 26 points per game. Now the Oregon defense, which is 26th in the country, giving up 303 yards per game. They're 78th in the country in passing yards per game, giving up with 226. And they're surprisingly number 9 in the country in rushing yards per game, giving up with 77. And they're 43rd in the country in points per game allowed with 20. So the keys to victory that each team needs to execute to win. Oregon obviously needs to stop Bryce Love. The receivers need to create better separation because against San Jose State, Justin Herbert was holding the ball for a pretty long time. And all because the wide receivers struggled to create separation. And against teams like Stanford and Washington and whatever good Pac-12 teams they play, he's not going to be able to hold on to the ball that long, or he's going to increase his chances of getting injured. And also, Justin Herbert has to have a big game. He's the best quarterback. He's the best NFL prospect quarterback right now. He needs to play like it. I'm expecting a big game from him, and he's playing at home. The Stanford defense is pretty good. You can't sleep on them. It's not that good, so he should be able to step up. And Stanford's quarterback Castillo needs to be a little bit more accurate. His stats tell a complete lie. I don't really think he's that accurate that he should be. He takes a lot of shots downfield, but against San Jose State, he had 2 interceptions. And all of them, he let his mechanics were kind of off, and the ball got away from him there on those 2 interceptions. So he needs to correct that. Stanford needs to control the trenches. I think a lot of people don't give Stanford the credit that they deserve on the offensive line and the defensive line. They have a pretty good defensive line and offensive line. They're pretty good in the trenches. They don't get the credit they deserve there. And that's going to be a big part of this game, going to be able to see if they can get to Justin Herbert and make him get a little bit trigger happy and get Bryce Love the ball. He's their best playmaker on offense. And since he's their best playmaker on offense, he needs to get the ball. If they can't run the ball, which it might be hard to do on this Oregon defense because they are ranked number 9th in rushing yards per game allowed. So if they can't get him the ball that way, I expect them to line him up in a slot or get him the ball with some screen plays. So the team that I have winning this game. I have Oregon winning this game. I'm just not that really high on this Stanford team. I feel they're average and they're kind of abysmal on offense. They're more of a slow pace, control the game type of team. And I'm just not really sold on this Stanford team. I think Justin Herbert will have a big day against this defense. And I have Oregon winning at home 27-17. That's going to be my final score. So let me know what you think about my prediction down below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe. And thanks for watching.